So hello guys and welcome to this rapid cast of the SCPH quarantine tournament. And our first round is gonna be a pretty big one. It's gonna be Zerg versus Protoss, and it is going to be XtinC versus DavidBane. So well, for Mr. XtinC and DavidBane, apparently they've had a rich history with each other, that's for sure. But DavidBane is someone to really tout up as one of the up-and-comers here in the SCPH scene, winning out quarantine number 2, Gold to Diamond in extremely dominant fashion, really showing the might of the Protoss Armada. But the thing to note right now is against Zergs of the Masters Plus bracket, it might be a whole different story. Macro is going to be very important, micro is going to be very important, and all about ability usage really going to be bringing up DavidBane. But in the meantime, XtinC having a lot to prove, a member of Team Dragon right now, and touted as one of the best Zergs in the scene, behind of course Nux and Ender. But he really is trying to bridge that gap, really trying to find his footing into the local scene and beyond. And I've seen him compete, I've seen him also hop in for the casting, so he does know his stuff, he knows how to play the game, and he knows so well how to really work into the opponent's base. And one funny thing, remember when we let him stream one thing, apparently he plays in 8-bit, and it is just absolutely amazing that he performs at such a high level, even with a few performance issues here and there. But anyway, it is going to be time to get into our lobby, and it seems like we are gonna be moving into 3 maps: Eternal Empire, Nightshade, as well as Simulacrum here coming into this one. So we are trying to fix the lobby real quick, just making sure everything is fine and dandy on that end. And yeah, these map picks are pretty much on the norm. Honestly, looking at Eternal Empire, Nightshade, and Simulacrum, this is pretty much the map picks I really expect into this bracket, because it is the more standard fare, it is the more standard setup, and these maps are very familiar to many players. Coming in all the way from 2019, Eternal Empire is something everyone loves to play in. It has that high ground, it has the diagonals, it has the Selaga towers, a really interesting dynamic on the high ground, low ground. If you want to play the aggression, you take the rich Vespine, but if you want to play more on the macro side, you just hug those corners. In the meantime, Nightshade LE, a pretty strong rush map, honestly. The diagonal, so easy to run on through to the other side, to the other base, and you are going to be able to play a very aggressive game. And finally, Simulacrum. The thing about Simulacrum, it is pretty easy to defend the first 3 bases, honestly. You stay on that high ground and you make sure you kick everyone off that hill, but it does have the opportunities for proxy, especially for Protoss, and we'll see if DavidBane can make it, or can XtinC make it into the best of 3 to reach Simulacrum. Because if one player in this matchup does get the tempo, well, it's going to be a whole different story all throughout. But hey, I'm really excited to get into this one. And are you guys ready to get going? We got our Zerg, we got our Protoss, and it is gonna be XtinC versus DavidBane to start things off. So we got a hero, we got a villain, and wonder who is who though. But it seems like both our players are ready to go. I can't wait to bring you guys the Masters Plus bracket, and it is finally time to move into this match. Eternal Empire is our first map. Going for a quick little race check there, seeing everything is a-okay. And yes sir, we are good to go. This is the SCPH quarantine tournament, and I hope you guys are ready for some PH action. Eternal Empire, Nightshade, Simulacrum, battlegrounds right now between these 3 players. And well, it's gonna be a very interesting start, honestly. Can DavidBane keep up with XtinC? Can XtinC perform to the level that we expect? Who will actually take this matchup? That's gonna be the real question. It feels like there is a lot of storyline running into this one, but hey, our game is afoot. We are set and ready to go. Just waiting on for XtinC to load, and let's get into the action. Hello guys, and welcome to the SCPH Quarantine Tournament number 3 Masters Brackets. I'm your host Daks, and this is our round 1 matchup for the day. Introducing first though, on the bottom left of Eternal Empire, it is our Gold to Diamond champion from Quarantine number 2, looking to make it with the big boys. It's an invite to the big table, and he is going to be trying to find his seats. It's our blue Protoss, DavidBane. In the meantime, on the top right, will we see this guy perform? Formerly of the EXO clan, still a great friend to many in the community. Now with Team Dragon on that Zerg. I've seen him evolve all throughout. I've seen him do so much work in his game, and he's just only getting better and better into the StarCraft scene. It is our golden Zerg, XtinC. I wonder if we can get Blazer in just for this match, just like a lot of love, dropping down, co-cast, that kind of thing for our next map. But you know, right now it's just me, myself, Daks is gonna be here for you all to give you the StarCraft 2 action that you deserve. And I'm glad you guys are enjoying the cast, of you guys enjoying your time here in the quarantine tournament. Without you guys supporting us, supporting me, supporting Mizzle, well, this isn't reality. So every little bit of success is also a part on you. So it seems like, though, we do have XtinC going for his macro focus. He's gonna go for the hatch first. In the meantime, Pool gonna be coming on in as well. But on the other side, DavidBane, already assuming the macro, will decide to set up the wall on that natural. One gateway, one cyber core, gonna be really big components here, and now pylon nearby as well, just in case he needs that orientation near his base. The 2 gas coming online here for the Protoss. Pretty standard start so far. Notice that XtinC, though, is on that 1 full gas, so he does want to get metabolic boost first and foremost. A very macro-focused game already from XtinC. So yesterday, we had a number of co-casters, but we'll see if we can get Panda User on in. Mr. Co-caster XtinC right now in the battlegrounds, and of course our Regeki side style cookie combination. Just looking to learn, looking to get a little more info on, and I can't wait to hear from them very, very soon into our next tournament. But hey, it's still gonna be anyone's game here and now, and it really is gonna be a test here between our 2 players. XtinC has to show that he is really belonging in a scene like this. He has to show that he can take down someone coming in from gold to diamond. But on the other side, this is DavidBane's to win in many, many regards. Every single map he takes, every single battle that he takes against XtinC really just raises his stock. There is nothing to lose here, honestly, for DavidBane, and all to gain instead. But hey, seems like pause is required right now by Mr. XtinC. And we are going to be looking to see if everything is a-okay. Lag is in order, and hopefully that is fine and dandy. So yeah, we're just going to make sure that we are looking to see into the rest of the bracket actually. So as we are waiting on, you know, it's a little bit of lag spike. Big kudos to everyone who has come in so far, and we'll just move on back to me. Hello, I'm here, I'm back. So yeah, I just want to say that thank you guys for adjusting the time. To every participant who is here right now, thank you for adjusting your time, making this more of a possibility, because it's only got a little bit of a something, but because of, well, all these players hopping on in suddenly, they really made the tournament a possible thing. But seems like XtinC is ready to go. We can go on back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Starting.
Game resumed.
Okay, there you go. So just one countdown. I know, I remember the first time I was a referee for a lobby, I didn't actually know that the pause button on the keyboard was the pause. It was very, very weird to see pause being used actually as a pause. And I think I pressed it by mistake yesterday. Like, I was trying to do the intros with the delete button, and I was like, oops, my finger just slipped there, and there you go. And speaking of slip off, it's DavidBane already exposing that he has that target. It's a real Phoenix right now going after this Overlord. In the meantime, an Oracle will be next on the list. Now this is very interesting because this does mean it allows XtinC to set up those Spore Crawlers immediately to protect his lines. Because with the Phoenix out in front first, it's gonna go hunting for some Overlords instead. But right now, this does force a little bit of a dynamic here from XtinC. He wants to throw None up. He wants to have enough eggs to get a big infusion of money. But right now, he will be forced to go for the Overlords instead for that cycle. But hey, his third base onto his natural is already up and running. He did go for the third base first and foremost because he's expecting his opponent to not play aggression whatsoever. And advancing lines like that will allows him to creep spread in a proper fashion. It's actually pretty smart here from XtinC. Since he expands on the third, he can creep up onto both ramps basically at the same time with 2 creep tumors from those queens, and any kind of aggression that DavidBane goes into the future will be defendable by these range units. So I like what XtinC did. He was just expecting no aggression there from his opponent, playing the macro game to a good degree, and right now though, he's going to be looking to keep things up on the worker count because DavidBane is trying to maximize his profits, going for more and more saturation. Third race right now being built up by the Protoss as well, and it seems like we are gonna see a multiple base game to really start things off. But hey, here we go, and here we are yet again. Evo Chamber now looking to come on up, and the real question is what are going to be the tech options here for both of our players. Now with Metabolic Boost on and Lair Tech, XtinC can go for the 3 base Mulus, but in the meantime, it's still DavidBane going for double Aura Cult Push instead, trying to get a few folks here and there. Spore Crawlers though defending against those air units. But the thing about 2 oracles is you are going to have enough DPS to truly get some drones before the Spore Crawler can get those kills. So XtinC reacting in kind, immediately pulling them away. Good call to protect those workers as much as possible. But it seems like it's Roaches actually here for XtinC. Didn't notice Roach Warren, but it is gonna be your standard affair of playing the range-based composition on the ground. Now, XtinC can go for the Roach Trapper. He can move on into Hydralisk as well to mix things up and go for the anti-air. It's gonna be a very, very potent force into the front line. I wouldn't be surprised also if he does go for the Nidus Swarm Host. It's going to be very, very effective to go for those books, especially on Eternal Empire. On this side of the map, it's very, very easy to let those locusts fly onto that natural. But hey, on the other side of the coin, DavidBane will go for the Charge Lot Archon comp. It's a very, very stable comp. It's really easy to manage as well. And you just get everything to get in the face of your opponents, cleave on in, and do some splash damage along the way. Immortals also being built. He needs those, especially against the Roaches and the Ravagers. The double Oracle is really getting a lot of scouting information, and he knows exactly what his opponent is up to. I also like from DavidBane, he does have this Observer set on top. He puts it in a proper spot, but seems like XtinC knows something is amiss, and immediately the Overseer turning into a Detector, and it shuts down the Observer almost instantaneously. Nidus Network though, gonna be into the card, so it might be truly the Swarm Host here later on. But the first push has to be those Roaches to really go for the pokes. Infestation Pit is already set and done, so he can go into Hive Tech, he can go for the macro all the way to +3, and the Swarm Hosts now are coming to bring in the pain. I've seen this before from XtinC. It seems like this is one of the compositions he really likes to run. Transition from 2 to 3 base Roach Ravager, immediately go into Nidus Infestation Pits. And it's not the suicide Nidus Network, of course. He does want to go for the initial push with those Queens to set up those creep tumors to try and make a own foot onto himself. But DavidBane right now, one thing we noticed from DavidBane is his ability usage from the last tournament. He sets up those stasis wards to try and get the shutdown on. XtinC in the meantime seeing exactly what's going on. If he drops a Changeling there, might be able to pop that one down. But this one Roach, a sacrifice for the Zerg Swarm. And we'll see if XtinC can actually notice when the stasis is going to be out and about. Here comes the Nidus Wet Projectile. Nidus Swarm spitting out a few Queens and the Swarm Host to boots. Anyway though, War Person right now going up on top. Psionic Storm gonna be a good way to deal with a big bulk of units. And in the meantime, well, XtinC looking to set up another parts of that Nidus Swarm, but he does have the Oracles already in position to get the call on. But in the meantime, here comes the attack already from XtinC. DavidBane gonna be moving away from his base. Very, very interesting. He's trying to play the zone game against these Locusts, and at the same time, Guardian Shield mitigating some damage, but the Zealots charging on in. Not the best way to go about things. Very, very difficult, of course, with the autocast on. And since those are disposable units, they're just really killed by XtinC. In the meantime, though, Hatcher right now being cleaved on. DavidBane with a really good surgical strike. He noticed his opponent was going for the creep threat down below, expecting the aggressive push. And the Zealot Strike Force enough to shut down that hatchery. But this is going to be a last-ditch effort already from these Zealots, going for as much damage as possible. And immediately XtinC reacting. He puts on the Nidus Worm onto one more side. Swarm Hosts are inside the worm itself. And by this point in time, it's all about pressure on both ramps. Anyway, though, creep tumors are going to be in position, and here comes the bulk of the RV. XtinC looking to take the ramp by storm, but this is a proper spot on this for DavidBane. One side storm can make a difference. Force field's going to be huge as well. And we'll see if the damage will be done by these High Templar. Psystorm right now coming online. Roach and Ravager trying to go for the dance. And for DavidBane, he's using this Warp Prism to try and get another zone of attack. Wants to set up on the high ground, get a cycle just in case. It seems like it is going to go for another strike onto one of those bases instead. 69 to 62 workers right now, but with XtinC double the army. It has to be DavidBane playing it smart. He can't afford to lose any of these units in a big fight because he will get overrun by the might of the Swarm. But here comes the Psystorm already. XtinC with a huge army advantage. Stasis Ward getting some good value on the north side, but the Locusts don't care about that. They are going to go for the push. In the meantime, though, here comes the Zealots yet again onto the aggressive expansion, really shutting down that fourth base. And well, for XtinC, this is only a matter of time till DavidBane can catch up on the army count. So he has to either play the aggressor or find a way to defend his alliance. Psystorm, though, will connect. DavidBane right now going for the push. The Archon gonna be out in front. And what a defense right now from our Protoss player. Able to stem the tide, able to stop the flow. And XtinC has to do something to try and turn things around. It's really interesting to note that the player in the lead is the one who has to play things out, because it's only a matter of time till DavidBane can keep things up on this regard. Something to note, DavidBane has +2 on ground weaponry, and a lot of High Templar getting some really good Psystorms on. Getting the slam on top of the ramp, really good usage of the map, truly. And at the same time, it's XtinC having to defend, but seems like it's that natural going down after the Swarm hosts get the strike on. So, I like this here from XtinC. He realizes that his opponent is just going for harassment, and one way to stem the tide, stem the flow, will be to make his opponent have one less base against him. But this is a huge Zealot army strike. Oh my god, that's a lot of Zealots, honestly, going for the push. And Eternal Empire gonna have all these warriors right now looking to get this push on. But in the meantime, Roach is right now trying to get on away. I love how XtinC is using these Night Swarms all around the map, really trying to set things up, a proper subway system. But what's unfortunate here for XtinC, he is really unable to expand on the Rich Vespine Geyser, so he will take another approach and expand twice onto the high ground, onto the low, see what DavidBane is gonna go on. And he's just looking to put his Protoss opponent out of position. One hit onto all of these High Templar are going to be absolutely huge here. And if XtinC is able to get this round, it's going to be a very dangerous spot for DavidBane. Now for DavidBane though, not really the biggest army, but such value with the High Templar, honestly. The Psystorms are absolutely huge, and will DavidBane playing with fire right now. If XtinC decides to go for another big cycle, it might be game, set, and match for this front line. But here comes the Locust, and DavidBane playing it smart. He is going to run on away from the Locust, but at the same time, he needs to make sure he finds a way to mitigate all those creep, because here comes the surround, here comes the cascade. The Zealots, though, way tanky in the front line. And well, we do have a match here, ladies and gentlemen. +2 now on both sides. We have the Constitution for the Roaches to go for the chase, and XtinC is running out of those numbers. Now, it's pretty even here now between the two players, but DavidBane with better quality in his regard. On to the third base he goes yet again. XtinC struggling to find his footing, and he might be forced to give up this hatchery. Down it goes. 11 Roaches right now in production. He's gonna need that big cycle on just in case, but at the same time, that Warp Prism is waiting for orders, waiting for the cycle to come back it again. Zealots right now being warped on into the front line, and what a push from DavidBane so far. High Templar well protected, well surrounded, even on the low ground. And XtinC is just looking for the poke, looking for the opportunity, but he's not getting it. XtinC right now behind again, as DavidBane is keeping things up on the worker count, but he does need to build a second Nexus point onto that natural, that's for sure. High Templar now need to get on a way to survive with a little bit of HP. And damn, that's so close there from XtinC. But now he will get punished with those Roaches in the front line, quick Psionic Storm. But in the meantime, Night Sword now being set up by XtinC. The question is, will this be a base race? Will this be XtinC saying, screw the defense, I'm gonna actually go for it? But it seems like it is gonna be a contingency plan just in case, and he does win things out on the fights, well, he will try to go for the killing blow as soon as possible. +2, gonna be a big deal here on both sides, and well, the Psystorm right now getting the vaporization on. In terms of units, those Roaches are going down very quickly. We still have a Phoenix and an Oracle flying around somewhere, but hey, these Zealots are really the bread and butter here for DavidBane. But he is gonna need more minerals. It's something to note actually, as we have a reprieve from this fight, because XtinC right now is on the hunt. He wants to go for this Nexus point. If he kills these probes, well, that is gonna be a lot of money going away, and DavidBane is still still going for many of these zealots, so he's unable to build up another nexus point onto the natural. There's no more minerals onto the main, barely any minerals on the second and the third. And honestly, DavidBane, it seems like he just withdrew too much money from the bag right now. XtinC in the meantime still needs to hold, but honestly, again, it's the same case. If XtinC is able to just keep things up, pile on the pressure, well, he might be able to take this victory. What a matchup. What a showdown so far. But hey, DavidBane, the thing to note though, High Templar sure side storms are really good, but against these Roaches and the Ravagers, well, you know, they're quite tanky as well. Maybe a few pokes against the Swarm Host might be really good, because with the Locusts just being reinforced constantly, 3 units right now getting to the front line and losing those Archons halves the hurts. This is looking really bad now for DavidBane. GG is called. XtinC withstands the pressure, holds the line, and the Zerg will take that victory. Very impressive stuff from our Zerg and Protoss player, but really the economy there from DavidBane just not enough to keep things up. If DavidBane was allowed to play the way he wanted to play, if he had all the money in the world reinforcing with those zealots, well, it could have been a whole different story. But with XtinC getting the proper usage of those Swarm Hosts, finding the proper time to go on the attack, and just taking care of that Nexus was actually huge. Without that Nexus point, DavidBane had to either go for a Nexus and stem the tide of reinforcements, or go for another cycle, but his income would be hurt. And I feel like it would have been safer to go for the Nexus point and just defend again and again till he could really recroach XtinC, but also it's just a matter of time. There was just so many things on the line, and XtinC had the advantage in the army. He put in the pressure. He was beaten back by a really good defense there by DavidBane, but he was able to break it down and just wait things out enough to take the victory. So well played there to XtinC. It kind of hurts DavidBane staying onto those Zealots way too much, even though they were a great unit to his composition with the Archons, the high temp. I really feel like something like the Immortals, maybe a few Stalkers and Adepts, just to mix things up, to add up to the damage composition, could have really helped. He also had the Stargate, so honestly, Phoenix Harassment or Oracle Harassment could have been something he should have been doing. Maybe we just didn't see it on screen, but we didn't really see drones going down too much besides the big attacks there from DavidBane. But well played to XtinC. He showed his moxie. He showed that he does deserve to belong basically in a setup like this. For some reason, I can't find my maps, but there you go. It is Nightshade next on the list here, as XtinC took map number 1. Pretty impressive stuff so far though. All about money, and it really doesn't matter if you have the workers, if you're not getting the optimal way at it. Just without the Nexus point, it was just way too far off. But hey, it seems like we are getting ready to go between XtinC as well as DavidBane. Zerg versus Protoss yet again, and I feel like for DavidBane, even though he had the proper scout at the very start, if XtinC is just able to shut that down, well, it's not gonna be enough. He can't also just let XtinC play the macro game, because that's exactly what XtinC wants to really do. On Eternal Empire though, I like how DavidBane played his battles, especially on the defense. But when he went to the offensive, I was really scared for him, especially when he was on the low ground, because XtinC was playing it very smart with 9 Worms on many different ramps. If XtinC was able to capitalize on that and catch out the high temp, that would have been game over already. But DavidBane showed his moxie, able to basically protect those spellcasters and get the push onto the third base. But beyond all that, it was all she wrote. Even though XtinC was beaten back, he still had the money lead. He still had basically the efficiency in his favor. And honestly, if you think about how DavidBane's income was, even though he had the worker count, only one base was really working optimally with a lot of minerals. The main base had no more minerals left. The second base didn't have a Nexus, and it doesn't matter. So it's still pretty much income in favor of XtinC. It's pretty much economy in favor of XtinC, advantage in favor of XtinC. And well, oh, Mr. Mizzle, here you are. We are gonna be coming in to this one very soon. Gonna make myself referee real quick, and both sides are ready to go. Yes, sir. So nice. I can actually toss this over to Mizzle after this game. But it's time for Nightshade right now, guys. And if Mr. XtinC does take this, well, he will be moving on to round number 2. If DavidBane takes this one, we will go to a game number 3. I'm very excited to see what is going to be unfolding here and now in the SCPH Quarantine Masters Plus bracket. And well, it has been an absolutely strong time so far. Goodbye, Nexus. Hello, Swarm Host. Will it be the same kind of situation? XtinC really loves that Roach Ravager Swarm Host comp, doesn't he? I want to see him play Hydra, honestly, alongside everything else, but he does know to really abuse the Nidus Network Swarm Host interaction, and if it's something that he's really good at, then well, more power to him. But speaking of power, it's power overwhelming as we get into our second map. It's Nightshade right here, right now, and let's get into the background. So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and here we are with round number 1, game number 2, between our Zerg and Protoss. Whoever wins moves on to go into round number 2 in the upper brackets. Loser though, still in the tournament, gonna be on the lower bracket side instead. Well, let's introduce our players first. Here on the top left of Nightshade, it's the Nidus Swarm Host God himself, something he loves to play, something he really enjoys. Comfort is his name, and XtinC is his game. Feels like that should have been backwards, but hey, it wouldn't work that way as well. He's gonna look to endanger his opponents till they run out of members, run out of units, run out of buildings as well. It is gonna be our Zerg player, XtinC. In the meantime though, on the bottom right, bringing in the Edge of Night, is he the one to invade Gotham? Or is he a guy named David? That's a real question there, but I love his name already. It has been Spellcasters United under the Protoss banner. It is our red Protoss here on the southeast corner of Nightshade, DavidBane. A magician in his old rights, and honestly, spellcasting is his name, and DavidBane is going to be looking to get more value from those casters. DavidBane Bane. So when I think of DavidBane, it's just I think of the magician, right? I think of the magician, and then I think of him with the gas mask. So he talks with like a big muffle on, and he's trying to explain how the magic works. But you know, the real magic right now is how he really gets value with things like the High Templar, things like the Oracle, things like the Phoenix, and I'd love to see him really move into something like that even more. We went for Zealots, easy to micro with the charge. Basically, they do their own thing. They're like, okay, we're just gonna casually run on in, and this should be good enough to get things done. But I'd love to see him with the stars, with the attempts, something on that regard. Play the positioning game as much as possible. But hey, for DavidBane, it's something pretty simple. You go for that Stargate, you look for harassment with the Oracle, and for XtinC in the meantime, he is going to be expanding on his natural instead of a third, because the Creeps Red, well, not necessary to really go to that low ground, but he does want to go for that 3 hatch immediately. He goes for the hatchery first, he looks to set things up, and honestly, if DavidBane does get the Oracle at the proper time, XtinC might not be able to react. Anyway though, Queen right now gonna be coming online, and the first thing XtinC always does with those Queens is to play the creep spread. He's gonna be looking to set things up in the first place, and in the meantime, Metabolic Boost as well as Carapace actually here for XtinC. Now I like it when Overlords do get the Carapace upgrade. It does tell just a little bit that that vision is going to be used for something. Now usually that of course is your Nidus Network, but you can also go for Ventral Sacks drops. You can also go for Overseers just flying on around to get the detection on, and well, it's also a good way to run away from the Phoenix. Now for DavidBane though, he does go for the Phoenix first over the Oracle, so it does mean he just wants to bother these Overlords as much as possible, and he's able to see the Carapace upgrade go online. Now this is a big deal because the Phoenix will have to be wary, will be looking around the map right now as much as possible to see any of these balloons floating into the distance. Right here, right now. Interesting enough, no Spore Crawlers as of yet here from XtinC. We do see a little bit of cancels though. Seems like this Extractor gonna be the one closer here for XtinC. Evolution Chamber instead, as he was building something actually. He was building a Roach Warren, I believe, but he goes for the Evo Chamber first. And it seems like he might be transitioning to a little bit of a different build. I wouldn't be surprised though if he does go for Lair Tech in just a bit. Metabolic Boost will go online. And here comes the Oracle right now. How many queens does XtinC has? He has 4. He has 1 in position auto natural. He might need the rest of them though. As here comes the punish. XtinC messing up his timing just a little bit. Now, he is just expecting the Oracle to come, and he goes for the Spore Crawler almost immediately, but it's not up as of yet. But DavidBane's just gonna be like, no, never mind, I'm not gonna even bother. And XtinC gonna be holding the line onto the first 2 bases. In the meantime, though, we see the gateways come for DavidBane. Looking to play that ground-based composition yet again. We do have a number of the depths, though, and will we actually see... Oh my, DavidBane, what is this? I see in your base. Now, this is gonna be a very, very important building to scout out for XtinC. If he doesn't see this coming, he might be surprised of what is to come. And now DavidBane, I love the Chrono Boost, but supply block, that has to hurt. Fast Carrier. We're actually gonna see Fast Carrier here, guys. And DavidBane, an absolute magician truly. Now, he does know XtinC wants to play that macro game. And right now, DavidBane has shown he is really, really stellar on that defense. So if he can buy time for this Bane base to be outscouted, if he can buy time for this Bane base to be A-OK, and keep up the economy for his second and the third with the Adepts, well, this is going to be XtinC in for a reckoning. But by this point in time, this is the proper composition here for DavidBane, because with XtinC having only the Zerglings, the Oracles, as well as the Adepts, should be able to handle things on their front. Now, we are going to see +1 for melee coming online here for XtinC, so this has to be the 3 base, even 4 base Immunoless play. Play that Spire, just run around the map with the speed of those flyers. But hey, a very, very interesting dynamic into this one. Oh, never mind though. Hydralisks then actually, here for XtinC. He's expecting something. Oh no! He sees the carrier! And that's absolutely heartbreaking because DavidBane is going to be saying goodbye right now to the surprise factor, and it immediately is going to be these carriers flying on into the distance instead. Now for XtinC though, he knows he has to change the map just a little bit. He's breaking the rocks as quick as can be, so if he does get the Hydralisks on time, they will be in position to get in the way. Now the Hydras, he is going to try to go for the range upgrade first and into the movement speed later on, because the lower range is going to help out the Hydras. I like the priority there from Mr. XtinC, but DavidBane, he's looking to find a target with the Oracles, with the carriers afoot. The Adepts are in position as well, and the Interceptors now flying off into the distance. Hydralisks then cycle. The Hydralisks from these hatcheries gonna be absolutely important to really turn things around. But hey, by this point in time, it's time to see these Interceptors fly off into the distance. Queen's getting vaporized, Spore Crawlers being adjusted. And what is going to be the target priority here first for Mr. XtinC? DavidBane piling on the pressure. Here comes the Hydras right now. I love the response here for XtinC, but is it way too late? How many carriers does this guy have? He has 3. He has 3. 1 is coming back to reinforce the cycles. DavidBane looking to get a few more gateways as well, but one thing note, he's supply blocked yet again, so he has to be very, very on point with his unit production. Anyway, though, a lot of shades flying on in, getting into the back of the Hydras, really giving chase with a Psionic transfer, and it's time to go for the brawl. The Hydras versus the Adepts, going for a few more pokes here and there. DavidBane, though, feeling the fury of those spines and going to be backing on out instead. Carriers, though, still with the pressure. Interceptors flying off. One carrier does go down. Good pick off there from XtinC, but he loses a lot of these Hydras into the front line, and we might have to give up this third base. Things are really looking dicey here for XtinC, losing more and more of that army, getting way surprised by basically what his opponent was up to. And it doesn't matter if he sends in those Zerglings right now, he needs those eggs for the Hydras. He can't really face off in the first place against the Adepts with those units. And he's going for +2 melee, but I don't think it's going to help him right here, right now. Now, DavidBane with such a big magic trick, and honestly, this is very much a first for me into this one. I love exactly what DavidBane is up to, and he is just making sure that XtinC is going to be attacking his base anytime soon, as here comes XtinC yet again with all these ranged units, but the Adepts into the front line yet again. Can XtinC actually hold the line into this one? We are going to see +2 for melee, we are going to see the Hydralisks get that speed, but is it too little, too late? That's going to be the real question here, guys. Here comes the Banelings right now, looking to push on through yet again. In the meantime, Will it be enough to stem the tide? One more carrier does go down. Seems like the range units here for XtinC holding the line, and that should be enough. What a pre-swipe, what a precarious situation. But in the end, it's DavidBane forced to retreat. I feel like for DavidBane, he should have added a few more carriers there, as it was so much DPS already by that point. And DavidBane has to be really careful with his production. A little too busy on the micro side, and look at he's floating right now. He's going for the double pump carriers. I still feel like though he could have built one more Stargate, but interesting enough, he's going for a bajillion gateways and more carriers right now on the defense instead. And wow, holy carriers, guys! Oh, good run in. XtinC finding an opportunity, and DavidBane's not reacting in time. He also has only these slow zealots, and they are gonna go for the brawl onto the natural, but at the same time onto the main base we go. 10 probes do go down, and one small slip up there from DavidBane actually costing him basically his economy there. Now XtinC in the lead again in terms of that macro potential. A lot of Hydras right now, and honestly, time has been bought because XtinC did go for the Spire. He has the Corruptors right now looking to fly on in, and honestly, looking really dicey here with DavidBane. The Golden Armada showing on up, and the Fleet Beacon there gains some really interesting value. I think the thing to note, you know, the Fleet Beacon has a lot of those different upgrades to really help things out. So honestly, DavidBane can go for a mix and match candy corner and just pick whatever tool, pick whatever trait he wants from the Stargate. But by this point in time, XtinC is really playing this so well. I love how he is breaking these rocks because he knows that he's going to be the one who's able to abuse the position on the ground. Those rocks are really going to hurt him in the long run, especially if the carriers are on the other side. And well, XtinC future-proofing right now, making sure everything is fine and dandy in his regard. DavidBane in the meantime going back to his bread and butter. Zealots as well as Archons. Psionic Storm with the High Templar. Charge Lot gonna be there as well. Good transition here for both sides though, and I love how they're adjusting for one another's playstyle. What a game! What a match so far. Highly exciting. What a good way to start the day. And hey, it's still gonna be XtinC right now, looking to position here on to another base. But here comes the Zerglings. DavidBane protecting with the Adept, protecting with the Immortal as well, who's just basically stuck. He's dancing around. He's like, let me out, guys. Let me out. And one thing to note is DavidBane does not have a Warp Prism as of yet, which is something he might want, which is something he should build, because even though there's a lot of Hydras, it doesn't really matter. He just put it somewhere far away, but closer to the fight, and not have to deal with the proxy pylon delay, basically. If he goes for a pylon only without gateway or a nexus point, then those warp cycles are going to be a lot slower. But when it's a warp prism instead, well, that is speed, killing pretty much anything and everything. But right now, rocks are still going to be in position. Seems like XtinC doesn't want to break this one. A little bit of a chokehold, seeing more and more of those ground units instead. In the meantime, though, +2 going online here for DavidBane. And we got the hooks for the Banelings. A lot of different upgrades here for both of our sides, looking to really adjust against one another. With the Corruptors flying on away. Here comes the carriers right now, pulling the pressure. The Zealots in the front line yet again. Easy kill onto the hatchery. Clean up on aisle 4. And this base into the front line of XtinC. Gonna be lost on that yet again. DavidBane is on a mission to really kill all these overlords, isn't he? Supply blocking XtinC yet again, and he's gonna be forced to really go for another cycle. Sidestorm though, absolutely huge. Those Corruptors go down so quickly. Wow, just a DPS on top. The Archons as well as the High Templar working together to just get rid of the Corruptors in the front line. Here comes the Sidestorm, so absolutely huge, especially against the Zerglings as well as the Hydras. And DavidBane making the spellcasting counts. Army right now for XtinC, whittled on down. DavidBane in the fights, in the front line. And what an imposing force here from the Protons. He's able to win out the battle. And can he win out the war? Advantage in DavidBane's parts, advantage in DavidBane's corner. And XtinC is forced to run on away yet again. Can the Hydra survive into this one? The Queen's gonna be in position though to try and defend. One Archon will go down, but with the Hydra's cornered, this is basically DavidBane stepping on his opponent and saying, I'm gonna take this win, I'm gonna take this map, and I'm gonna push you to the left. Corruptors though focusing fire onto the carrier. One goes down. Blinkstalker right now putting on the pressure as well. Archon's gonna be there to try and keep things up. Hydra's right now rally point just to die, and XtinC is gonna call GG, tapping out against DavidBane. Our Protoss player will tie things up 1-1. Absolutely amazing stuff there from DavidBane. And well, carriers have arrived, and carriers are able to get things done. So let's give Vizzle the leader real quick so he can set up that next lobby. And that was just an interesting time, honestly. Oh my god. Really good stuff. Oh yeah, you guys need this. If you guys need this, Mabi, just at me if you need something. Ano ba? But there you go. So we are gonna be moving into map number 3. It's gonna be Simulacrum next on the list. Remind me. I can't just look at the Discord channels quickly. It's like, I'm casting, guys. Wait lang. But anyway, DavidBane. What a show. What a show there from our Protoss player. And we are gonna go to a third map, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. Mr. Mizzle, I think we should both be referee. But hindi ba pwede yun? Like, we should both be referees, like two of us, so we can both pause if need be. But hey, Simulacrum. Now, DavidBane has shown that he can really surprise his opponents, and XtinC has to adjust himself. XtinC has to do something to get more scouting information a lot earlier than that, to react a little quicker. He had the proper reaction, he had the proper defense, but after assuming basically, carriers all about that sky toss, he didn't expect DavidBane to transition quickly back to charge lots and Archons, and if the info game is something that Mr. XtinC needs to work on, he has to do it now, here for game number 3. But Simulacrum is going to be our background, our players are ready to go, and let's get into this one. Wow, this is not Nightshade map though. That Nightshade map was so impressive. Oh my god, honestly. Wow. I'm kinda just a little exhausted seeing exactly the surprise factor there for DavidBane. I'm just like, whoa, my mind's blown. And DavidBane is truly a magician, guys. He's truly one of a kind. And honestly, this guy looking like he can really compete with the best of the best bets. Hey, it's time to get into our third map, Simulacrum LE, for game number 3. Are you guys ready? Because I am. Let's get into the next battleground. Whew. Silence, please. Sometimes, when you have an amazing show, when you have something you really appreciate, it's not even all about applause. It's about making sure that the respect is given. And well, respects to XtinC and DavidBane so far, as we are tied 1-1. But hey, here and now, on Simulacrum we go. And let's get into another battlefield. Introducing first, on the top left of Simulacrum, here and now, playing that Golden Zerg, it's our Team Dragon player, XtinC. In the meantime, on the bottom right, the magician himself, the spellcasting god, our gold to diamond Quarantine 2 tournament champion, looking to make a splash here in the cute Quarantine 3. I'm like, what is the acronym for Quarantine? Is it QT? Are you guys a QT? Are we in the QT? Am I a QT? But hey, enough about that. Looking to really make a splash on the Quarantine Tournament 3 Masters brackets. It is our red Protoss, DavidBane. But oh my, oh wow. Hatchery gonna go up here onto the low ground. And you can already see XtinC is really the type to try and play into the future. He goes for these expansions because that is the direction he wants to take. He goes for the directions that he wants to play on, and right now he's looking to play the aggressor against DavidBane. Honestly, for XtinC, if he does mix things up and be the one on the first strike basis, well, he should be the one to take the advantage in that regard. DavidBane, in the meantime, mostly reactionary, mostly in terms of the history of XtinC, and I feel like for DavidBane, he has done his homework, he has done his research, and he is looking really good to go for this matchup. You know, guys, preparation is truly half the battle, and let me just prepare myself to taking a quick little gulp of vitamins as we see this Overlord going to the main base, seeing out that natural wall immediately, and yeah, 2 base versus 2 base, basically how PvZ usually goes on. But we need all the energy we can get for a tournament like this, for a broadcast like this, and honestly for all the action that is coming our way. And I honestly cannot wait or what else to come into this one. But by this point in time, let's just talk about the match. Metabolic boost, spawning pool gonna be there. Yep, goodbye to the Adept. So honestly, StarCraft 2 has been, there's been good news and bad news. Like, let me just talk about it real quick. There's been good news and bad news. We have seen a lot of the events being cancelled because of the whole coronavirus outbreak, which is kind of sad because this was the first year away from the WCS format, and IEM as well as ESL really putting a lot of work from online play to offline. That was the plan, and it just didn't pan out. But hey, there have been a number of tournaments, there have been a lot of great things. GSL right now happening on the African TV side. We have had a lot of different online tournaments as well, and honestly, I love how StarCraft 2 is really going back to the roots, going back to the players, going back to the organizers away from Blizzard, and if it's going to be a healthier environment, then well, let's take it. Anyway though, here and now, DavidBane looking to play the Adept gameplay, so it is going to be those Glaives looking to get into this forefront, and in the meantime, for XtinC, we are going to see the Zerglings being run on by as well. Now, in terms of our bracket, we are going to be looking to broadcast the upper bracket as much as possible. So if there are lower bracket matches, let's actually get them going simultaneously during the tournament. Now after this one, we'll be looking to get into the other side of bracket for the round number 2. And I believe that it is going to be Bayagstar versus Phoenix and then Nux versus Saipem. So if you guys are already updated on the bracket, you should see what the next matchup is going to be. But right now, let's focus on the action. I haven't really turned on anything else besides this game. Like, I haven't been able to check out the bracket because, honestly, with how the scoreline is so far, as how the action has been so far, it really is deserving all the attention in the world. But now for DavidBane, he did go for the Resonating Glaives. He wants to go for the Adept push. And the real question is, what is he going to use to complement this? It seems like it's really just going to be Adepts as well as the Robo. Now, you can play for the Phoenix Adept push. That is that's a really good composition to hamper your opponent. There's Overlords as well as pressure with the Gravnon Beam. Then use the Adepts to move around the map. And for DavidBane, it's Mass Adepts instead into the front line. Queen's though trying to play the tank. XtinC has to retreat. Zerglings can't really stand up against these Adepts in the first place. And one King gonna go down. XtinC is playing away from that creep, and it's very, very dangerous of him, especially without that movement speed on to those bulkier units. Oh, I see. When behind Dark Shrine, when ahead Dark Shrine, when in doubt Dark Shrine, just play Dark Shrine. And Dark Templar gonna be coming into the field very, very soon. The Adepts, just basically a distraction. Good surround out here from XtinC, piling on the pressure. And ew, DavidBane started stepping on away. It's all about the pressure right now being applied though by XtinC. Queens right now getting to the forefront. And basically for DavidBane, he needs to protect that Warp Prism, but it's just not gonna happen. The Adepts are gonna be running on away without their sisters, without their brethren. They are gonna be unable to stem the tide of the Zerg swarm. And for DavidBane, gonna be looking to get into the high ground instead. I like to see from DavidBane, he realizes the position, looks around, sees there's no base there on the south side, and he's gonna be like, hey, this is my foothold now, and on to the main base we go. Psionic transfer to get on through. Roach is giving chase. Creep isn't really completely connected, so DavidBane given a few more seconds to actually run on in. Now it's by some time for the Psionic transfer to come off cooldown, and it's gonna be those shades disappearing on away. He loses 4, but he does pile the pressure onto the natural instead, and 5 drones do go down. Not the best trade though for DavidBane. He's losing a lot more than he's getting, but at least it's forcing XtinC out of position. Now, interesting enough, we got DavidBane going for the Warp Cycle, and it's gonna be a Dark Templar in the face of adversity! Wow, oh wow, he doesn't care! He's gonna go for the invisibility right here, right now! And how will XtinC respond? Immediately onto the Overseers, he already has the Spore Crawlers in position, and he's adding up more. Seems like DavidBane going for a different dance, and it isn't gonna be the right one. So Archons now being merged from the DT. DT Archons, a lot more costly in terms of the minerals and gas investment, but hey, it is what it is. It's a little less than the gas, honestly. Like, it's 125 for DT, so total it's a 250 Archon. But yeah, usually you do want to invest something on the High Templar for the Archon instead and go for the charge lots to complement it because you're using both resources at the same time. So it's a heavier load on the bank, it's a heavier load on the wallets, But DavidBane is just going to try to make things work a little different instead. He is going to go back to his charge lot approach. I wouldn't be surprised if he does go for the Templar Archives, even though he already has the Dark Shrine. But guess he needs that money to really keep things up. But hey, XtinC looking for the punish already. If DavidBane is going to do something a little cheeky, XtinC is just going to go for the attack here and now. Ground heavy composition, Zerglings, Banelings, as well as these Roaches and Ravagers. Really looking for the bust, really looking to shut down DavidBane before he can get started yet again. Now honestly, this is XtinC in a really good spot. He has 3 of these bases up and running compared to the 2. He has a better worker count after the drone wave. He has a bigger army, and he's going for a 4th base right here, right now, taking complete map control. But he has to be very careful. If this army right now does get caught out by DavidBane with the pincer attack, well, he's gonna be losing a lot in terms of that map control. But here and now, the Overseer gonna be flying on around. DavidBane cannot withstand the pressure, and he's gonna be going back on the inside. The Immortal able to come on through. Shield batteries are in position, but this Immortal needs to survive unless DavidBane doesn't want to have that DPS to really keep things up in the first place. And the Pylon getting hammered on. It feels like this is the only thing powering the front line besides this one on the left side. And honestly, XtinC picking up the right target, but he just needs to go for one more Pile Wave to really shut things down. Holy Artosis Pylon, come on, realize this, XtinC. He breaks the wall already. Gateway has been shut down. The Warp Gate does get turned off. And the Cybernetic Score will take the brunt of the damage. What a shutdown there! That's a Q up there from DavidBane that will not be built whatsoever. Zealot's gonna be into the front line here and now. Stalker gonna be there as well. But the Immortals trying to pack a punch with those Space Disruptors. And XtinC is doing the dance of death. DavidBane though, realize the situation, need to repower up that roam facility, and the Immortal can be into the front line. XtinC taking way too long in this fight and trying to retreat, but with the Zealots in position, it is going to be finally time for a little reprieve on both sides. Absolutely dicey there for DavidBane, but he is able to defend yet again. Really close, but no cigar, as XtinC did go for more on the macro behind all of this. So again, future-proofing really. XtinC feels like he's one of those guys that already plans out his wedding 10 years behind, 10 years ahead rather, and he's looking to see when the best time to really buy a house, mortgage, that kind of thing, as DavidBane goes for the move command, doesn't notice the units are just hitting him. But XtinC has to run on away. Dark Templar gonna be there, a little concave with the Roaches and Ravagers. They do want to go for a fight at the proper spot with the proper numbers, and they're trying to play that range advantage. Zealots and Dark Templar running on away. Immortals need to be absolutely protected in this regard. And still the Overseer really giving chase. Does XtinC have any other upgrades besides the movement speed? Seems like he does have the +1, while DavidBane has the +1 on the ground weaponry as well. So it's pretty even here, and now +2 now coming online from XtinC at the same time. And well. DavidBane forced to reset up that wall, but XtinC is not letting up whatsoever. He's still there, he's still going for the fights. What's interesting though is XtinC hasn't built up a nice network as of yet. He's gonna go for the Infestation Pit instead, looking to potentially build those farm hosts into this one. But right here, right now, the Zealots gonna be into the front line, able to clean things up. DavidBane though, focusing heavily on defending, and he's really unable to keep up in terms of the economy as well as the army against Mr. XtinC. So honestly, DavidBane on the ropes again, similar to the first map, and he is putting on a performance that is really commendable, similar as well on the Eternal Empire, but the comeback potential is a lot less than that first map, because XtinC is in complete control of everywhere and anywhere he wants to be. Now Baneling's gonna be there, of course. The Zealots can tank things up pretty heftily, but the splash damage though will still pack a punch, especially with the charge online, and there you go. Baneling's getting the hits. They do some really substantial damage as well against the Zealots, so it is a tit-for-tat scenario. Archon's a lot better to tank things up in that regards, but unfortunately they were in the backline instead. Now here and now, XtinC sending in more of these Banelings, very instrumental units as well as efficient ones. And piling on the burst, absolutely stellar stuff here from XtinC so far. It's interesting we're having all of these mid fights, and XtinC isn't really doing too much on the creep spread. I would have loved to see him spread his creep a lot more in this regard. Of course, our Protoss player cannot capitalize on it, so maybe XtinC forgetting about it while he's doing all the macro, all the micro along the way. But a little more speed would really help things out, especially as he's going for push pulls. And in the middle of the map, even though he does have reconstitution, it isn't still the same compared to being on creep. But hey, DavidBane gonna do a similar thing. He wants to go for the aggression there, but this time he is gonna be doing this at a time where he cannot really keep things up. Now DavidBane will be able to stem the tide, but he has to realize that his army right now isn't the biggest, isn't the best, and he might not be able to withstand the pressure from this Zerg. 63 army to 20, that's absolutely subpar there for DavidBane, barely having the numbers, barely having the time, barely having the chances, and every single unit that he has is blowing on apart. 8 army right now. Things are looking really bad here. It's gonna be the wall getting broken down as well. Workers have fallen, and it seems like this is just basically XtinC saying, I'm gonna show you why I can win. I'm gonna show you that I can really come up ahead on the bases. Everything is falling apart, and DavidBane will call the GG. XtinC moves on to round number 2, and our Zerg player proves that he truly belongs in this bracket. What a game there from XtinC. He was able to show up and clock in properly. It was a potential to really turn things around there from DavidBane, but he just wasn't at the time there to really have a substantial army compared to round number 1. And well played there to XtinC. Getting the win, getting the victory. Kudos to XtinC and DavidBane for putting on such a show. And even though XtinC took the win, DavidBane taking my heart with those carriers. Wow, that Nightshade I still feel is my favorite map, but that was an absolute clinic there from Mr. XtinC, shutting down every single thing that DavidBane wanted to do. I love how DavidBane mixed things up with the Adepts and the DT instead, but it was just way too ambitious to warp them in front of your opponents. This is like a little too confident there. And it doesn't matter, the Zerg has so many tools with detection, spore crawlers, as well as overseers. Very speedy, very effective, can move on around to be at the proper spots. And DavidBane, I feel, missing his timing there with the DT, losing too many adepts in the trade, looking for drone pokes, and that was the show. But hey, here you go guys with our map score, and wow, that took us a very long hour there. XtinC and DavidBane putting in an absolute clinic, but is XtinC taking the 2-1 victory on the first and third maps. The Zerg lives on to fight another day in the upper bracket. In the meantime, DavidBane gonna be dropping on down to the lower bracket instead. And I can't wait to see what else is gonna be coming our way here in the SCPH quarantined tournament. But anyway guys, that was game number 1, and we will be back with some more action. We'll be checking out the bracket, we'll be going through these matches quickly. Stay tuned, stick around. This is your Master Plus bracket in the SCPH Quarantine Tournament.